Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to have you join us here for our fifth session in our 2025 Tennessee Farmers Market Vendor Bootcamp webinar series. I've learned something in all of our sessions thus far, and I expect to learn more today and on Thursday in our final session. Well, is it Thursday? Yes, I guess it is. I am I am lost. We have sessions next week. This is Thursday. I am so sorry. We've been teaching workshops and all over the state, and I don't know what day it is. Anyway, we have this one and two more next week. We'll try that. Um, we will once again keep participant microphones muted and cameras off to help everybody keep enough bandwidth to manage. We will encourage you to use the chat box again. If you've got questions, please feel free at any time to put those in there, and I will watch that and help direct those to our speaker as we go through today. I'm really excited to have Elena Boyd join us today. Elena is a colleague of mine in the Center for Profitable Agriculture and has a lot of experience and education in the digital marketing and strategic communications space. Um, and she's young and in tune with all things social media. So I'm really excited to have her here today to get her take on how you as farmers market vendors or farmers market leadership can utilize digital marketing strategies to help promote your farmers markets. So Elena, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Sounds great. Thank you, Megan. Good morning, everybody. I am excited to be here with you this morning. Like Megan said, I work in the Center for Profitable Agriculture. Our office is in Columbia. Um, I am still fairly new to the center. I started in 2023, so this is only the start of year three for me. Like Megan said, my background is in communication and information, so I have a little bit of experience across all areas of digital marketing and some of this digital communication. So I'm excited to share some of this information with you guys. Um, Mostly my work in the center deals in value-added dairy. So if you have been involved at all in any of our value-added dairy programming in the past, you may have seen me before. I provide program support in part to the Southeast Dairy Business Innovation Initiative. So I do quite a bit with dairy producers, but also other folks across the state and in different areas of ag. So this is exciting to kind of talk with you all in the farmers market world today. I don't get to do that often. I won't talk too much about the center. I'm sure that Megan has shared quite a bit with you all already. If you are not familiar with the Center for Profitable Agriculture, we are a formal partnership between UT Extension and Tennessee Farm Bureau, and we also work cooperatively with the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. And this next slide just kind of gives a brief introduction to some of our staff members. You should recognize Megan on this slide, maybe some of the other folks from our team as well. So this is a great group of folks. I get to work with these guys every day in the office, and they all do really great things for our producers. So going ahead and kind of kicking us off in this discussion on digital marketing strategies, the first thing that I wanted to share with you guys, let me see if I can move there we go. The camera pictures of everybody was in the way. So I'll go ahead and kind of kick us off on this digital marketing strategy discussion. When I talk about digital marketing strategies, one of the first things I like to do is sort of start with this question. So I usually ask folks, would you start on a road trip or a journey without any direction or a roadmap? We get a lot of folks that answer yes to this question, even though kind of in my mind, I would answer no. Um, Starting a journey or really a road trip anywhere without any direction or a roadmap can be pretty difficult. So we like to think about our business or our brand's social media strategy as that roadmap to creating effective social media content. So our destination would be to make social media content or any kind of digital marketing content that works. And that digital marketing or our social media strategy is going to be what gets us there. So now that we've kind of introduced that concept of a marketing strategy as our roadmap, I want you guys to think about the tactics or those individual components or actions in your strategy. Think about those as the stops along the way to your destination. So these tactics would be any of those individual steps that you take when you're putting that digital marketing strategy into action. So, kind of moving on from that brief introduction to strategy and tactics, the next kind of component that I wanted to touch on for you guys is this idea of the digital marketing mix. So, you may have heard some of the folks already during the series talk about the marketing mix or maybe the 4 Ps. When we are talking about digital marketing, this digital marketing mix really has to do with three specific types of content. So that's going to be our earned, owned, and paid media. So when we talk about earned media, that's going to be um, anything that you have to earn as far as content. So this could be news channel coverage. Maybe you have an event at your farmer's market, or you're having some kind of upcoming um, gala or something like that. And the local news channel comes and does coverage of that event or of your farmer's market. Any reviews that you get online, shares on social media, mentions on social media, or that traditional kind of word of mouth marketing, that all falls into that earned media bucket. So you had to do something to earn that mention or coverage. When we talk about paid media, this is going to be anything that you have to pay to get. So this can be paid ads on social media. Maybe you've paid to boost a post on Facebook or Instagram. So any kind of social or digital ads. Pay per click, that's when you pay money for folks to click through maybe an ad to get to your website. Display ads, any kind of really digital marketing that you pay for. So that would be paid media. And then owned media is going to be any type of content that you own. So your website, maybe you have a blog about your market, or you post kind of blog updates online. And your social media channels count as owned media as well. So we don't own Facebook, we don't own Instagram, but we have ownership over those individual pages and accounts. So those would fall into that owned media bucket. And kind of notice with this Venn diagram, there can be certain instances where some types of content you have may um, fall into all three categories at once. That does happen from time to time. I think sometimes you see more of maybe two at once rather than all three, but it is possible to have things that fall into all three categories. So we've talked about that digital marketing mix. Now we can take a look at some specific types of digital marketing campaigns or strategies. As you can see on this slide, there are several different types, and we'll talk about almost all of these today. We'll touch on social media pretty heavily. That is a big one. I would consider social media marketing kind of the king of those digital marketing campaigns. Um, Really, I don't think there's a way around being on social media kind of in this digital age. Um, Social media is a big one. We'll also talk about email marketing campaigns specifically, as well as content marketing and SMS or text message marketing. We won't touch on influencers in this slide set or search engine optimization, that SEO, really at all. I will have some resources towards the end of this session where I'll touch on previous recordings or other programs that have more information about influencers and SEO specifically. So now that we've sort of introduced several different types of those digital marketing campaigns, you may be wondering which one is the best for my market or for my vendors. And the short answer for that question is that it's going to depend on your target audience. So no two answers for anybody on this call today will be the same for what would necessarily be the best digital marketing campaign for you. There really is no one size fits all for these. That goes for social media, email, really anything. What works for one person may not work for another, and that's completely okay. Um, I would put most of your focus and effort into trying to create content specifically for your target audience that meets their unique needs and wants. Because everyone's target audience is going to be different, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we move through these next couple of slides. So, short answer, like I said, it depends, and the best type of campaign or best fit will be different for every person. Kind of segueing off of that question of what may be the best campaign, you may wonder now, okay, so what does engaging content look like? And once again, just like with the campaign situation, there's no one size fits all approach or really a right or wrong answer for what engaging content is going to look like. That's going to be different for every person and every target audience. What may work for one market, maybe in sort of a larger urban area may be different for what works for a farmer's market, say in a smaller, more rural community. That doesn't necessarily mean that there won't be overlap. There can be overlap, and there may be a lot of similarities between the two. But engaging content, really in general, is going to be different for every person. Um, and it's important to know that you can really increase the likelihood of folks engaging with digital content, whether that's social media, um, traditional content marketing, or email marketing. Um, you would do that through practicing what we call social listening. So, when you engage in social listening, you do this by really being in tune with what your target audience or your customers are saying online about you. Whether that looks like tracking the comments on social media, maybe what folks are saying about you in community groups on Facebook, or what they're saying on review pages online. All that kind of falls under that umbrella of social listening. So that just means being in tune with what folks are saying about you, kind of on the internet or on social media. You can also increase the chances of having really engaging content by staying on top of what's trending with your target audience. We'll talk a little bit about how it's not really the best practice to do something just because it's trending or viral. Going viral is not always the answer or a realistic goal that you want to kind of shoot for. But knowing kind of what's trending with your specific target audience can be helpful. Also, staying on top of analytics, whether that's for your website, social media, you can even get analytics for email marketing and text message campaigns to kind of see how those are performing. So, just being mindful of any of that analytic data that comes back to you from whatever platform you're using can help you kind of fine tune your approach and just once again, kind of steer away from that one size fits all. Um, I feel like I'll say that probably 50 or 100 more times before we get through the end of these slides. What works for one person is probably not going to work for all of you, and that's okay. So just kind of keep those things in mind as we move forward. So kind of keeping in mind that engaging content is different for every target audience. One thing that goes kind of hand in hand with that is remembering that engaging content is going to look different for every demographic. Um, and the same holds true for different generations of people. So we don't like to stereotype folks, but humans tend to have a tendency to fall into stereotypes anyway. And this holds true for all the different generations. And there are different steps you can take to market to those generations effectively. It's important to kind of think about the age differences between your target audiences because that can be different based on maybe which social media platform you're looking at, or whether that goes for your emails or your text message kind of marketing campaigns, or really just your website in general. So if you don't know which generation you belong to, this graphic here on the screen gives a really good example of that. And different generations kind of have a tendency to gravitate towards different platforms. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get deeper into our social media discussion. But kind of keep this customer segmentation or these demographics in mind while we move through some of this content. So we've kind of given sort of a high level overview of a couple different things now. Um, I'll start to get a little bit more specific over these next couple of slides as we move forward. But first and foremost, I wanted to start with this idea of content marketing. Looks like we've got some things in the chat. Oh, awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Ashley. She had a comment about going viral, that it can be overwhelming. Um, and you kind of have to have a thick skin to deal with some of those things that people say online. We'll talk a little bit about some expectations versus reality for social media here in a couple slides. So back to this content marketing. Um, Content marketing in general encompasses a lot of different digital marketing strategies. Um, the American Marketing Association has an official definition for content marketing, and this includes the strategic creation and distribution of valuable, relevant content designed to attract and engage your target audience. So, content marketing does include any email marketing campaigns that you engage in. This could be podcasts or radio shows, any type of video content, whether that's YouTube, TikTok, short form or long form video. Social media is also kind of categorized as content marketing. It is a form of content marketing. Um, and websites, blogs, really anything in that digital space that results in some kind of consumable content would fall into that content marketing umbrella. And I've got some examples of some non social media types of content marketing that you may or may not be familiar with. I think these are really good ways to kind of diversify and differentiate some of the digital marketing that you may engage in. Maybe you do social media already. You may do social media well, but you don't engage in any other types of content marketing, and that'll just help you be able to capture maybe more types of customers, keep your customers engaged, that kind of thing. So blog posts that I already mentioned, that is a non-social media form of content marketing. Long and short form video as well. So when we talk about long form video, that's going to be like your YouTube videos, maybe your commercials, anything like that that's longer than maybe a TikTok or an Instagram reel. And short form video would be like the two that I just mentioned, TikTok and Instagram reels. Anything typically, I like to think of short form video as things you would watch on your phone, kind of upright video, where long form would maybe be something that you would typically have to watch on YouTube or some kind of maybe a video service rather than just TikTok. And of course, podcasts and radio shows. Podcasts are becoming really popular. Podcasts are a neat way to kind of answer different questions for your audience or make content specific to maybe your area of expertise. So we work with he's actually a marketer, has a marketing firm, but he's a farmer as well. Travis Key does a lot of really neat stuff online in the digital marketing space. He has a Lazy Dog Farm, and he makes a lot of educational content related to kind of the specialty crops that they produce. They do a lot of kind of really neat greenhouse type content, things related to the things that he grows. So content marketing can kind of serve as a way to provide context for your audience, kind of deepen their understanding of kind of what kind of services you provide. I don't know if anyone in some of the other sessions have talked about maybe the marketing funnel, but depending on where your customers are in their customer journey, you can differentiate the types of content marketing that you engage in to serve different customers based on how maybe familiar they are or how far along in their customer journey they are with your brand or with your market. We've got a couple things in the chat. I don't want to lose anybody if there is a question.
I will pop in if there's anything you need to know. Keep
Okay.
rolling on.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll get off that content marketing kind of spiel, and now we'll move into social media specifically. So when I start talking about social media, I like to kind of share this slide with folks and bring up this idea of what they call the attention economy. So I imagine most of you, maybe all of you, are social media users already. And at some point in your social media journey, you've probably felt like this slide on the screen in the past. That's completely okay. Social media can be overwhelming. It changes all the time. It's normal to kind of feel overwhelmed. I like to use this slide also when I talk about the attention economy, because think about how much content we have to go through or sift through on social media and how busy we are in our day-to-day lives. This whole idea behind the attention economy is that our time or our attention is limited. And for businesses using social media marketing, they have to compete with other businesses to kind of win your attention on social media. This is the same for any kind of digital marketing also. That can be online shopping, your website, really. So just think about how much content there is on social media to consume. And when we're scrolling, or I know when I'm scrolling on Instagram, if there's not something that kind of pops out and catches my attention, I'm going to keep scrolling. So it can be really difficult for businesses to kind of capture attention in kind of this digital space that we all live in now. But big takeaway, our time is limited, And as businesses, you have to compete for your customers' attention in this digital space. This next slide is kind of a infographic example of how that attention economy works. This is not an official formula by any means. This is just sort of a way to give a graphical kind of representation of what I talked about. So when we think about this attention economy in theory, we would have our customer attention and multiply that by the time they spend on social media, ideally consuming your social media posts, your paid ads, anything like that. Um, in theory, that's going to result in some type of dollar amount per user because hopefully, if they're engaging in your social media content or your digital marketing content, then they end up converting to purchasing your product or engaging with you in the market space. Um, anything that would result in them going from social media to becoming an actual customer. That's kind of the idea behind that. So again, just reiterating that your social media content is on the clock. This graphic is a couple years old. It's from 2022, but it gives a really nice example of how the average human attention span is waning over time. So if you take a look over here on this side of the screen, in the year 2000, so almost 25 years ago, the average attention span of a human was 12 seconds. As of 2022, that was 8 seconds. And the average attention span of a goldfish is 9. So knowing all this, your social media content really and truly is on the clock. You've got a really short amount of time to grab that customer's attention with your content. I mentioned already that we would touch on some reality versus expectation for social media. So you will not necessarily leave this session today with any kind of formula or magic answer on how to go viral or how to necessarily get famous on social media. I don't have the magic touch for that, don't have the secret key to getting more followers than Beyonce overnight. If I did, maybe I wouldn't be here. I don't know. But kind of just think about realistically setting some expectations for social media. Don't just assume that you will start making content overnight that's going to gain you millions of followers or you're going to go viral with every single post every day. We had a comment that mentioned already through the session going viral is not always what it's chalked up to be. It's definitely not just because you go viral one time, you may get a million likes on a video or on a post, but that may not result in getting a million followers. And you don't want a million followers if they're not going to be engaging with your market or buying your products or supporting your business. So just kind of keep that in mind with some of those kind of vanity metrics with social media. Having lots of followers would mean nothing if they're not converting into customers at the end of the day. The 80-20 rule for social media is a good rule of thumb. Think about this as we move forward talking about social media posting. So only 20% of your social media messaging should be directly promotional. You don't want every single post that you make to be buy, or throwing that in your followers' faces about buying every time. 80% of your social media content should be engaging for your audience in some way. That doesn't have to mean funny. You can have engaging content that is educational or informational. It doesn't have to be funny just to be engaging. Funny is nice. We all love to laugh. But your target audience may be folks who are seeking out specific educational information about maybe the products that you have or how your market works, that sort of thing. So don't necessarily see that 80% should be engaging content and assume it's got to be funny or entertaining. Engaging does not always mean funny. So keep that in mind as we kind of move through. Um, Another social media concept I want to kind of touch on is this idea of organic social media content versus paid social media content. So, organic views are really the goal when it comes to social media. You want your followers to find you organically every time, because if they don't find you organically, that means you paid for it. And paid social media is not necessarily sustainable unless you have maybe tons of money to throw away at paid posts or boosted posts, that kind of thing, or social media ads. Um, so really organic is the goal. You want your followers to find you naturally through the content that you're posting. You want to be able to kind of build awareness of your brand, kind of drive brand awareness, and really net followers because your content is really hitting the mark for that target audience rather than paying for it. So kind of keep that in mind as well. Organic content is really the king when social media marketers talk about the most valuable types of content. Um, and then, of course, this slide ranks paid social media as the second most valuable. And really, you can pay, say for TikTok as an example, you can pay to kind of boost a video, and maybe you may only pay $10 a day. Well, imagine paying $10 a day for a month or for 6 months or more. That adds up really quickly, and that's not sustainable because, like I mentioned earlier, just because you're paying for engagement on your posts does not mean that those new followers that you gain or the people that see one post that you made one time are going to turn into paying customers or loyal customers in the end. The next kind of social media concept I want to touch on is this idea of social storytelling. So, social storytelling is pretty self-explanatory. You are just using your social media content to tell a story. You can do this in a lot of different ways. A picture's worth 1,000 words. I think we hear that a lot, and it may sound kind of silly, but it's true. So, really relying on visual elements, photos or videos to tell a story that can do it can work wonders for your social media presence. Really think about the emotional response that you want your audience to have. That emotional response, positive or negative, can kind of make or break your social media presence. So um, really think about what you're posting and how that's going to drive the emotional impact or response from your target audience. I've mentioned, talked a little bit about going viral already, or maybe things that are trending. Um, Trends on social media are constantly changing. It can be really hard to keep up with that. And I don't think you necessarily have to try to keep up with every trend. I would encourage you not to do that. Um, Mostly just because that one size fits all approach is not the case for trending things or viral things. There's nothing wrong with reusing past content. If you post a picture today and in a year from now, if it's a really great picture and you want to use it again, do you really think that your audience is going to remember what you posted a year ago? Probably not. And hopefully, in a year from now, you have more social media followers, your target audience is growing. Maybe your target audience has even shifted a little from when you posted that content the first time. So don't be afraid to recycle or repurpose past content. Just because you posted a couple seconds of a video to TikTok doesn't mean you can't pull that full video and use it for YouTube or maybe even a longer social media post. So definitely don't be afraid to reuse past content. You guys may be familiar with this concept of user-generated content already. I think for farmers markets especially, this can be a really powerful tool. These pictures on this slide are examples of user-generated content that I had inadvertently made in the past. One really nice example that I like to touch on is giving folks an opportunity to take photos and using signage. If you give somebody a chance to take a picture, they're going to do it. People love to take Instagram worthy pictures. They love photo ops. and they'll do it without even being asked. I think that's become kind of ingrained in social media culture now. Folks will just see a sign and say, "Oh, I gotta have a selfie with that." Um, really give folks the chance to create user-generated content for you. Um, any kind of maybe a picture on your farm or a testimonial, maybe a family came to your market and they had a really great time and they want to post about how family friendly their trip was. So they post it in the local community group or they post it to Facebook or Instagram. All that kind of counts as user-generated content, especially with branded things. Maybe you have stickers like these Yeti stickers. I posted this. This was free promotion for Yeti. Nobody paid me to do it. I just did it because I really like the picture and I really like stickers. So kind of think about ways you can lean into that user-generated content on social media to let your followers and the customers that come to your market do that work for you. Now we'll kind of touch on, let me make sure I didn't skip a slide. I did not. So now we'll kind of move really quickly through some social media copy best practices. So when I'm talking about social media copy here, I'm talking about the caption that you're putting with your social media post. So really be mindful of the platform that you're posting to. We talked already about some generational differences for digital marketing. Um, kind of in general, there tends to be an older kind of presence on Facebook versus on TikTok. That's not to say that there aren't older generations on TikTok. I think if folks tell you to avoid TikTok, I would disagree with that. There are pockets of all generations on all social media platforms, but in general, think about the platform you're posting to. You may be able to get away with being a little silly in your social media copy, maybe on TikTok or on Instagram, but if you have more of a serious presence, maybe on Facebook or another platform, you want to continue to be consistent with that brand voice on each platform. If you're going to use unfamiliar terms or jargon, I would try to maybe explain that some way in the post. And really, the big thing is to remember to use the spell check tool before you post. The worst thing that you can do is post shirt and miss one of the letters in that word. That can be really embarrassing. And you really, really want to be mindful of the things that you're posting on social media. Try to keep things as kind of clean as you can um, in your social media copy. So some copy mistakes to avoid. Avoid being inconsistent with your brand or your values for your business. You may have some really strong um, kind of values that make your market or your business what it is. So try to be as consistent as you can with those. Do not just hop on a trend just because it's viral. Um, Once again, that one size fits all approach, it can really flop. And say you try to jump on a trend and it doesn't go over well with your target audience, you can imagine maybe you lose followers, maybe you lose customers because you jump on a trend that doesn't really work for your specific demographics. Same thing, as I kind of mentioned already, avoid being inflammatory or derogatory on the internet. The internet is forever. The last thing you want to do is be ugly to somebody, one, because it's not nice, and two, because somebody's probably taken a screenshot of it before you get it deleted if you do delete any kind of ugly comments. So if they see you as maybe a market vendor or a business sort of engaging in um, any kind of not nice behavior online, imagine how that might impact your business. If they post a screenshot, wouldn't go over very well. So just kind of keep that in mind. The internet is forever, and kind of remember caption length guidelines for every platform. You can post much longer captions on Facebook versus Instagram. So just kind of be mindful of those caption guidelines. Really quickly, we will breeze through hashtags. So I assume everyone knows what a hashtag is. If you do not, a hashtag is that little pound symbol that folks will use in a social media caption or in comments or in their bio um, that have some sort of a phrase after the hashtag. Um, Hashtags are a really good way to add a fun factor for your um, target audience or whoever's looking at your content. If you give folks a chance to use a branded hashtag or maybe a special hashtag for an event, they will. I think that's another thing that's just kind of become ingrained in social media culture. Social or hashtags are still very relevant, I think, in this day and age. I don't think they're going away anytime soon. There are a camp of folks who may say hashtags aren't relevant anymore. That's another thing I would really disagree with. I think they're here to stay because we've spent so long using them. They're definitely not going to go away overnight. So consider using hashtags on your social media channels if you're not already. Really quickly, some kind of key things to consider doing for hashtags, branded hashtags, which I already mentioned, using hashtags specific to the subject matter or the content that you create. If you can use hashtags that kind of provide context or give insight to the content that you're creating, I think that's really helpful. You can use your location. Biggest takeaway for hashtags is to practice what we call Pascal case. So this is going to enhance the visibility and the readability of your hashtags. This is just where you capitalize the first letter of every word in your hashtag. Um, so just remember to think about Pascal case when you're using hashtags. Some don'ts for hashtags. Try to stay away from all lowercase. That can be harder to read. You definitely don't want to use too many hashtags at one time. You may see folks on Instagram or TikTok who use like 40 hashtags in one post. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. They try to use every hashtag imaginable on a post thinking it'll boost engagement. I really don't think that's a sustainable way to kind of do hashtags for social media, so I would try to stay away from that. Some platforms have hashtag limits also. I know Instagram only allows you like 30 tags on one post, but still, just because you can use 30 doesn't mean you should. Um, and also, do not use hashtags that are too difficult to remember. If folks misspell a hashtag, it won't pop up the way that you hoped it would under the tag for those posts. So the simpler you can make your hashtags, the better. We'll breeze through these next couple of slides. If you're interested in finding hashtags for your subject matter or for your kind of area of expertise, you can use tools like Keyword Tool. This is a really nice website that will help you find keywords to use as hashtags for your kind of subject area. Google search trends is another way to stay on top of those kinds of um, what's trending or what's relevant for your kind of area of expertise. Google Trends is free. A lot of these Google tools are free. I think it's awesome. At any given time, you can search for what's trending in your geographic area. So that could be statewide, regional. You can really see what different demographics of folks are looking for. So really utilize Google search trends if you don't already. Um, Moving away from hashtags and now kind of talking about social media content calendars. Content calendars are a really great way to keep track of your social media marketing campaigns. This is an example that I made in Canva. You don't have to necessarily make something super elaborate. Um, you can use Meta Business Suite has a social media content calendar as well. But this is just a way to track what's been posted, what's going to be posted, that kind of thing. And you can see who posted. So that way, if you have maybe a specific event or specific something going on with your market that you have several posts in a row for, you can see maybe the dates and times that folks are going to post to. Meta Business Suite has a free content planner in their software built in to the Meta Business Suite website. This is really neat, especially for those of you that use Facebook and Instagram. You can kind of see this is a screenshot of CPAs from last year. So all these posts in green have already been posted. These orange bubbles are things that got posted to our Instagram story, and the blue bubbles are holiday suggestions that Meta Business Suite will show you. Um, to kind of give you an idea of when your audience or specific holidays. Um, I got ahead of myself. They also have a feature where they will suggest to you when your audience is most active and kind of give you the best time of day um, based on the last 7 days of your followers for when to post. Now, I think that consistency is more important than maybe posting at a specific time. Um, there, depending on who you ask or what website or resource you look at, different folks are going to say, give you different answers for when is the best time to post. I think what's more important when we talk about posting for social media is consistency. So being consistent is much more valuable, in my opinion, than posting at a certain time, maybe of the week. You want to base that on maybe when your followers are most active or kind of use some data driven decision making there to make that decision. Um, I know for CPA's social media, at one point in time, it told us that our followers were most active at 10 a.m. Well, that was, maybe almost 2 years ago. I still consistently try to schedule posts at 10 a.m. because it worked at one time, and now all of our posts that are scheduled go at 10 a.m. I think our folks know to expect that on social media. So it's much more valuable to me to be consistent in my time rather than change it every month or every week based on whatever business suite is telling me. So some final thoughts on social media strategy as we kind of move off of this towards another topic. Social media is both an art and a science. Social media marketing, that is. So there's really no right or wrong answer or one size fits all. The most important thing that you can do for social media marketing is to listen to your target audience, listen to your followers, and curate content specifically for those folks. Because if you just fling or shotgun content out into the onto the internet with no rhyme or reason or really purpose behind it, you may get some engagement every so often, but it's not going to be as effective as really using some of these concepts that we've talked about over the last couple slides to tailor your social media strategy.
Elena, we've got a question in here. If
Okay.
someone is using a hashtag that they thought would be a good fit, so somebody else is using a hashtag that I thought would be a good fit, should I change my thought and not use that one, but create my own that of one that's not being used?
So if you're referring to maybe a branded hashtag, I know there are instances where maybe you've got two different businesses or two different markets with the same name. If that's the case, I would maybe you may want to think about adding maybe TN or something to kind of set that branded hashtag apart. But maybe if it's an instance where somebody else is using hashtag farmers market or hashtag strawberries or microgreens or that kind of thing, I think it's fine to use general hashtags that other people are using. Even if it's maybe like a local or a county hashtag, I think that's fine because hashtags give you a chance to it categorizes your content. So any hashtag that you put on a post that you share, it's going to kind of archive that post into that hashtag category. So when people are searching for, say I'm searching for hashtag farmers market, then your post will come up under hashtag farmers market. So will everybody else's. Um, and in the case of using like a specific, like a branded hashtag, I know at one point in time I had a blog and I had a hashtag for that blog, and it was a way for me to keep up with all the posts that I had made under that Brush Creek Aggie hashtag, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you so much. All
Awesome.
right, I know you have a lot more to go. We have 10 minutes, so
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna breeze through these next couple quickly. We're almost done. Really quickly, I just want to go through SMS marketing or text message marketing. So if you're not familiar with SMS or text message marketing campaigns, you can send text messages to folks who opt in to receive text messages from you, and you can send them kind of coupons or kind of promotional messaging. You can send time sensitive or what they call transactional types of text messages. This could be an appointment reminder or shipping information. Maybe you have an account for your business. Then you can send them like password reset information. Um, this is still really growing and I think still relatively new. So there's maybe not as much information out there about social media marketing campaigns as there are for emails or others. But it's nice to be aware that this is an option for you. Quickly, some best practices for social or for SMS text messaging campaigns. Really never text anybody unless they've opted in to receive text messaging, marketing text messages from you. You don't, just because you have somebody's number, you don't want to just send them marketing text messages. That's a really good way to make people a little irritated with you. Really make it clear on how to opt out from those and keep that messaging short and simple. And also be mindful of any privacy and data laws that have to relate back to text messaging or telephone communication. There are some platforms out there that will help you do text message marketing campaigns. Attentive is one. You can see there's several different big brands that use Attentive for their text messaging marketing campaigns. And Slick Text is a number one or another really high rated. They came up as the number one text messaging campaign service for several different brands. So kind of keep those in mind. You've got some options. Email marketing campaigns. There are several different types of email marketing campaigns. I got 6 here up on the screen. This does not cover all of them. This could include kind of welcome emails. Maybe you've gotten an email before when you added things to your cart on a website and then you didn't buy it. You might get an abandoned cart email. Seasonal email marketing campaigns. Those could be maybe seasonal newsletters or mentioning like a seasonal launch, that kind of thing. And then, of course, promotional email marketing campaigns. And sometimes we see what they call connect via social email marketing. Those are just encouraging the folks on your email list to follow you on social media. Some email marketing best practices. We'll kind of move through these quick, but you always want to build your email list. Same kind of vein as with the text messaging, just because you have someone's email, don't send them an email. You really want them to kind of sign up for that, whether that's through subscriptions. You can have a subscription kind of form to fill out to sign up for your email marketing. You can collect emails through event signups or what they call gated content. We'll look at gated content here in a second. Be really intentional in the email design. If you have logos or specific brand colors that you use those in your email. The more that you can make it look like your social media content or your other digital presence online, you really want to do that if you can. Personalize and segment for different demographics. Same thing for social media. Keep that in mind. You may not send the same email to every single person on your email list. You may have different email lists for different subjects or different kind of categories. And you can try to create follow-ups with folks with email marketing. That kind of gives them a sense of urgency to kind of complete whatever that call to action is going to be, whether that's to finish their purchase or sign up for something, that kind of thing. I mentioned gated content just a second ago. So this is a really nice way to build email marketing lists if you don't have maybe an email list already. You can put gated content or a form on your website. This is maybe going to be something like maybe a brochure or a newsletter, or maybe you got a list of all the maybe the markets in your area or in your state. If you put that content if you don't give it to that person until they fill out the form, then you collect their email kind of in exchange for giving that content to them. So that's that idea behind gated content. There are a couple email marketing platforms. MailChimp is a big one. I've used MailChimp personally in the past for newsletter emails. It works pretty well. You do have to pay for it. It's one of the downside. MailChimp also does text message marketing or SMS marketing campaigns now. So this may be a good one to consider if you're thinking about email and text message marketing together. HubSpot is another email marketing platform. HubSpot does a lot of things. You can manage your social media with HubSpot. They'll do email marketing. They have really great resources on the HubSpot blog. I would really encourage you to look into HubSpot if you're not familiar with them already. But they do specifically offer like a drag and drop email marketing builder. So that moves us through all of our content slides. I do have some additional resources to share with you guys. I mentioned that we weren't going to talk about influencers or SEO in this slide set. The center does have a webinar series that we host on the second Tuesday of each month called Daring to Learn. This playlist is on YouTube. It's completely free. Don't have to be a dairy producer to watch. We have three different sessions that I put screenshots of here that I think would be beneficial for you guys. That was going to be our Business Suite Basics session, influencer matchmaking, and then this one is optimizing your website to drive traffic. That's an SEO kind of specific recording. So I encourage you to take a look at those if you have more questions about influencers, maybe Meta Business Suite or search engine optimization specifically. And that wraps up all the content that I had. So if anybody else has any more questions, feel free to send those my way or in the chat box. This is my contact information as well as the center's contact information, our website, our Facebook and Instagram, and then of course our YouTube channel. You're probably already familiar with all these, but just in case you need them again. And I'll go ahead and put Megan's evaluation slide up here for you guys that need that. I know I ran through this really quick also, so if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to ask those, or you can shoot me a follow-up email after this.
There's a great question about what considerations would you advise for adding background music behind photos or videos on socials?
So I think that would depend on kind of the platform that you use. I know with TikTok and kind of with Instagram now with Reels, you can pick music that's already on the platform. As far as adding video, say you're editing the video yourself and you make it maybe in Adobe or in CapCut or there's a couple other video editing programs. Um, I would not add, like, if it's not a royalty free sound, I would not use that in a video unless you had permission to use it. Or so I know there was a service that I've used in the past for video editing where I can buy rights to certain music and then use those songs. But with social media platforms like TikTok, especially, or with Facebook, they'll take your posts down if you have sounds attached to those videos that don't belong to you, or you don't, or you're not able to use like for free. So I would try to just use maybe those in-app sounds that are available, or you can add audio, maybe yourself if you. I'm not saying like to record yourself singing. I don't necessarily mean music, but um, there's you can use your own kind of audio. Looks like we had another one, Megan, that asks, do you have a resource that teaches how to put together farmers market specific ads, including catchwords or phrases, etc., or is it just best to do multiple searches, such as YouTube? Um, so if you're specifically meaning, we have some Daring to Learn recordings and some information for using Canva for making actual flyers and social media images in Canva. But as far as maybe the catchwords or phrases to use, that's going to depend. I did not have slides in this session about like calls to action. Some of those will depend on maybe like what types of customer you're marketing to. So, catch if you mean like phrases as in buy now or sign up now, that kind of thing. The Okay, you did watch the Canva workshop. Awesome. Um, I would I would say kind of lean on that Google Trends tool that I talked about earlier, especially if you're looking for maybe words or phrases to look into. If you have an idea of what the folks that follow you on social media already are kind of looking for, then maybe you can use some of those words. TikTok will also give you insight into what folks are um, kind of searching for or looking for or how they got to your post. Um, and with the ads, I don't think I have a screenshot on that Daring to Learn page. We have um, a, a meta ads recording for Daring to Learn also that may be helpful for you.
So some of the research that Dr. Tim Woods shared at the PIC Tennessee conference, we have some of those slides and some information related to that about consumers of local foods. So if you are a specific vendor, understanding what your target audience is wanting and needing, and then the phrases that you would use would speak to those interests, the benefits they're seeking from their product and why they're searching for those products. Specifically, if you're a market overall, then you would be looking at phrases for, you know, folks who are looking for all types of local products at your farmer's market. So if you're interested in the resources that I have available from Dr. Woods, you can email me and I'll send those to you if you missed his presentations at the PIC Tennessee conference. Elena, thank you so much. You fit a lot of information into a very short time there and gave some great tips for folks here. But we do have another question which we can get back to, but before we let everybody go, I want to thank them once again. Thank you all the participants for coming, and ask you to please take about a minute or two and complete the evaluation form for us. We would appreciate that, and that will help us make sure to get your attendance for the TAEP program as well if you're looking for that educational component. And we will stick around and answer some more questions. I think, Elena, are you good on time to stay?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine if anybody else
Great.
has any questions.
So if you run a Farmer's Mart making a post highlighting each vendor that is there is a great content and fairly easy to do. Absolutely. That would be a great thing to smatter through there. Absolutely telling the story. And if you're an individual vendor, telling your story of your own farm, and then maybe who else is at the market to help pique people's interest to come, and especially products that might complement yours. That's a great way to do that. I'm afraid being in such a small town would be hard to pique the interest for microgreens. So maybe some content about what microgreens are and how to use them and how delicious they are. And Elena might help. Elena, do you have any other
Yeah,
thoughts there?
I think so. There's nothing wrong with really trying to make content around kind of what microgreens are, the types that you have. I have seen folks, there's a grower like local to me. They do a lot of work on social media, kind of showcasing what goes into kind of the work on their farm and kind of so when they take things to, we've got a little farmers market, uh, like a year-round kind of place you can sell at in my hometown. And they'll take pictures when they kind of restock, and especially if folks have never seen microgreens before, um, I would I would not discount kind of posting information or even just showing pictures of like what they are, because just because nobody's ever heard about microgreens doesn't mean they wouldn't be the type of person to buy them. I think it's just a matter of putting that information out there in kind of your area about what they are to get folks interested. I've seen some folks do a really good job with TikTok, especially. So I know I touched a little bit earlier where there are some folks that may tell you that there's nobody on TikTok, but teenagers, I think that's really incorrect. There are folks across all generations on TikTok. TikTok is really interesting now. People are using that to search for information almost in place of Google, and I have caught myself. I know I'm 26, but I'll still use TikTok if I'm going to search for something, especially if it's something I've never seen before. So that may go over really well for you, Amanda, with your microgreens. Maybe if you post videos of maybe washing or packing them, or this is what they look like on day 5 of growing or day 2, that kind of thing. I think it can help spark interest because folks may just not have seen them yet.
Sounds like a good plan, Amanda. Pictures are great. Uh, Great to help pull it together, visualize, and help make us hungry. Wonderful. I'm not seeing anything more, Elena. I'm going to stop the recording now.